page 900, we're talking about an ellipse, and we know that an ellipse of this nature, because we practiced on page 899, so we practice problems like this one, number 7, says x squared over 49 plus y squared over 81 equals 1. So we practice these, and we know that the center of this is going to be 0, 0. And the biggest reason we know this is because the form for the standard form for an ellipse is x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. And so the hk could be 0, 0. And so we talked about this yesterday. This is the circle, the ellipse, with the center at 0, 0. We also know that the major axis is going to be parallel to the y-axis. And we know this because the larger number, A and B, is under the y, right? So the major axis is going to be this way. So it's going to go up and down this way, right? We know this because this one's larger. So what is the length of the major axis? It's going to be the square root of this doubled. The square root of 9 doubled is going to be 18. Okay? And the minor axis, yes, the square root of 81 doubled. The minor axis is going to be parallel to the x-axis. And again, we know this because this is the smaller number. If you remember our conversation from yesterday, A and B can switch places depending on the major and minor orientation. So the minor axis is parallel to the x-axis, and its length is the square root of 49 doubled. So that would be 14. Okay? So we could find the foci. So if we're graphing this, we know that this is going to be up and down like this. It's going to have a center at 0, 0. The vertex here is going to be 0, 9, and 0, negative 9. And these edges here are going to be 7, 0, and negative 7, 0. Did everybody follow that? Joanna, are you with us? So the last thing is to find the foci, the focus points. Okay? And remember, we use the Pythagorean theorem to do that. But A has to be the hypotenuse. So in our hypotenuse, this is going to be a right triangle with 9. And what happens is this length here just kind of slides over, and the top comes down, and this becomes our C, and this becomes our B. So this length is A, right? So this is going to be a 7, and we have to figure out what this is, and that's going to be our foci. So 9 squared equals 7 squared plus C squared. So 81 equals 49 plus C squared. And notice these are the numbers that we have up here. So they should start to look familiar. So what is 81 minus 49? So we have 32. So C squared is 32. And so when we square root that, we're going to remember our radical rules, and we're going to factor this. So this is going to be 4 times 4 times 2, or 4 square roots of 2? 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times 2. So yeah, that works. So this is going to be 4 square roots of 2 is equal to C. So the foci are going to be up and down this time because of the A being under this. So the foci are going to be at 0, 4 square roots of 2, and 0, negative 4 square roots of 2. Now, I went over this one mostly to review for maybe those of you that weren't with us yesterday, and to hopefully catch some people up. But again, all of your centers are not at 0, 0. So today's focus, again, is going to be what we do when the center is not at 0, 0. So let's add a page and take a look at page 900. Question 37. Question 37 says x minus 2 squared over 9 plus y minus 1 squared over 4. And this is equal to 1. So you see that this is in the standard form, and you should be able to look at this and see that your center is at 2, 1. You should also see that in this particular problem, your see if I can get this a little better this time. Your orientation is going to be parallel to the x-axis because this is the larger number. So A is always the major axis, and wherever A is tells you what it's parallel to. Okay? So from this, we should be able to see then that our center is not at 0, 0 this time. So it's over 2 and up 1. So this is our center this time. That's going to change some things, okay? Main thing it's going to change is how we count off the major and the minor axes. So let's do the major axis first. The major axis, and we know that this is going to be oriented this way. It's going to be longer parallel to the x-axis. And we know that it's going to be, the major axis is going to be 6 because the square root of 9 is 3. And 3 doubled is 6. So the length of the major axis is 6. And that's going to be handy because what we do is we count 3 this way. 1, 2, 3. And this becomes a vertex. And we count 3 this way. 1, 2, 3. So this becomes the other vertex. So you see, this is now our major axis. This has the foci. Okay, the minor axis is going to be the square root of 2 doubled. So the square root of 2 is, the square root of 4 is 2. Doubled is 4. So that one is a little funny because of the 2. But basically, we go back to this and we mark the minor axis. So here is my ellipse. Let's see if I can make that in a different color so it just kind of pops out to you. And it's going to be this way. So here's our picture. Of course, it would be a little more accurate on graph paper, but that's what we're looking for. Okay? Now, it says give the location of the foci. So again, we're going to have to calculate the foci. The foci are going to be here and here. think this was supposed to be up one more, wasn't it? 1, 2. Wasn't it supposed to be up one more? So obviously graph paper will be better so you can count that. Let's get back to. So the foci is what we're looking for. So again, this is going to be 3 squared equals 2 squared plus c. And so this is 9 equals 4 plus c. So this is 5 equals, it's c squared, isn't it? C squared. So c is the square root of 5. Now, here comes the tricky part. You have to know which way this is oriented, and you have to know the center, because the foci is going to change. If I'm looking at my picture, my focus point is going to go the square root of 5 this way and the square root of 5 this way. So think about which one that changes. Does that change the x coordinate or the y coordinate? And in this case, it changes the x. So the foci, or the focus points, are going to be 2 plus the square root of 5 as one ordered pair, and it's going to be along that y equals 1 line. And the other one is going to be 2 minus the square root of 5. And that's still going to be along that 1 line. Because again, I started with the center, and I went right the square root of 5, and I went left the square root of 5. So frequently you will see the focus points written like this: 2 plus or minus the square root of 5 and 1. So what you have to think about is which ordered pair is going to change. Okay? That's what you have to think about. Which ordered pair is going to change. So what I'd like for you to do is to work question number 38, and I'll give you a moment to do that, and then we'll go over that. So what I want you to do is, with question 38, I want you to graph the ellipse, and you can just do a sketch like I did. I want you to give the location of the foci, and in order to figure out where the foci are, you're going to have to find C and figure out which way it's oriented. So pause the video and work question 38. Okay, hopefully you paused this and you've made some headway on your problem. The center you should find is at 2, -2. Did I copy the problem right? No, this is supposed to be a 1, isn't it? I remembered that because I was looking at one of your questions. So this center is 1, -2, right? So my center is going to be over here, over 1 and down 2. I think we may have had it in the, did we have it right, Joanna? Do we have it right? No? So 1, -2 is my center. So there's the center. That's the middle of the major and minor axes. So it's over 1, down 2. It's in the 4th quadrant. Now, the major axis is under the x coordinate, and A is 4. So the length of the major axis is going to be 8, right? So I'm going to go 4 this way. So there's one of my vertex, and 4 this way. So there's the other vertex. And now we're going to do the minor axis. The minor axis is going to be the square root of B times 2. So B is going to be 3. And so the length of the minor axis is going to be 6. So from the center, I'm going to go up 3 and down 3. up 3. Not 2. 3. 1, 2, 3. And down 3. 1, 2, 3. So here's what my ellipse looks like. So let's get this ellipse going on. Looks like this. Did you get it right? Oops. I'm a little off, but you get the general idea. In other words, it's important for me to see that the foci are going to be here and here. So the next task is to find the foci. And I do that by saying that a squared, 16, is equal to b squared, 9, plus c squared. So this is going to be 16 minus 9 is 7. And so c equals plus and minus 7, square root. So again, I'm changing the x coordinates. I'm going to take the center, and I'm going to keep the x coordinate changed by the square root of 7, and the y coordinate stays the same. Okay? So this is going to be 1 is going to go over here and stay at -2, and 1 is going to go over here and stay at -2. So these are the coordinates of the foci. Okay? Any questions?